Okay, so this is kind of another, you know, video, I guess, recording, audio entry, whatever you want to call it. I know that I said before that I wanted to do this consistently, and I still do and have been wanting to. I am just incredibly busy with work. Um, so it's tough to be very consistent with it. And so hence the very kind of relaxed setup of like I literally just put my laptop down on my couch and threw my AirPods in for a microphone. I'm going to try to get a better microphone, but um, really the thought process there was just to have a setup that's as easy as possible. Like I could just open up the OBS and record and just throw my AirPods in. And before I was kind of the mindset of like, all right, yeah, I'm going to do it when I get home from work and I want to still be in my work clothes, but that means that I have to, do it before I go to the gym and like sit down and I have to like pull my microphone out and screw it together and, plug it in and set the lighting up and, take my computer out of my bag and like just do the whole thing. Um, and, so I'm just trying to make this really easy and less formal where, I can be in like a t-shirt and talk about things and um, just kind of I just want to be more consistent with it because it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I think it's good for me to kind of get my thoughts out and express some things to nobody because nobody watches this, but I think it's good to just kind of verbalize thoughts and just work through things that way. But the barrier to entry of doing that every single time, every day, or however often I want to do it was just too high, doing it the way that I was doing it. And there's like kind of two different ways to motivate yourself to do things. It's either uh, the reward for doing the hard thing has to be increased, or you have to like decrease the barrier. Um, and so that's all this is, because I there's not really a way to increase the reward for doing this. Um, I just think it's good to do it. Uh, but the only way to do this consistently for me is to make it easier to do. So that's kind of what this is. Um, and I know the audio quality is probably not the best, but it doesn't matter because nobody will listen to this. So shouldn't have to worry about that too much. Um, all right. So I guess what's been new lately? Work is still going really well. I've done some external presentations on my model to clients now, which is really cool. The implementation process of the model has been painstakingly slow. And I kind of did my part and like sprinted through the whole development of the model, start to finish, and got through that really easily, or not easily, but quickly. And now this process of like implementing it into the workflow and selling it to people and kind of getting everybody else on board is much more. It's just slower, and it's this part is not the most fun with that project specifically. Um, there's a couple other projects that I'm on, nothing that I'm like super excited about. Um, yeah, I think that, we're just kind of iterating through some things and uh, I don't know. I guess like my overall thoughts on work are, I don't know. I've been doing this for about a year now, like this specific project, because we started it in May, so almost a year. And I just kind of feel like I'm ready to do something. Like I want to step it up in terms of, difficulty of like what the model needs to do and performance. Because I love the process of building models and designing it and doing all of that. Problem is I don't have the necessary finance background to kind of see different like use cases for all this stuff. Um, and so I kind of need to work with somebody else who does. And I don't know, that's tougher to do, I guess. And it's honestly, it's probably something that I should be better at and better about. Um, I don't know. And I've kind of been saying that for a couple of weeks of like, we need to kind of get moving on some of these other projects. Um, it is just kind of tough. Like our firm is very fundamental and very traditional, so it's tough kind of slotting yourself into a firm like that and then trying to say, hey, no, let's do all these quantitative things. And not that that's like a bad challenge at all. It's just very different than like if you went into a dedicated like HFT firm who, it's like that's what they do, where everybody knows what you're talking about. Everybody knows, the validity of it. Um, so it's kind of a different approach. And so I guess like really where I want to position myself is is the next few projects that I want to work on, I think need to be, and these first couple projects were really, really good for kind of where I was at in my career. And not to say that I've come, so drastically far in just a year, but I kind of want to start because I really feel like I have a lot of control over what I want to do next. Um, in terms of like where to apply my skills within the firm. And I really want to start kind of applying them to projects that I think would be transferable to, really desirable landing spots if I were to move in, the next few years. So that's kind of the direction that I want to start going. This is really me just kind of thinking out loud here. There's no real like direction to this or point that I'm trying to make. It's really just kind of me rambling. But yeah, so I think I need to kind of start thinking through projects that, like Jane Street or Citadel or, um, Two Sigma or just like places like that, like things that they would want to see. And then kind of work backwards from there to figure out how to apply them to our firm. And I guess I need to learn more about what our firm does from like, the trading perspective and, the like all these different perspectives. Like I'm very siloed in risk right now. Um, so I think I need to branch out in terms of I need to branch out in terms of my understanding of the firm, and then I need to branch out in terms of understanding of like the industry. And then I think that's where I can start kind of applying these projects. So I think that's what the next like month needs to be is kind of just broadening my understanding of those two things while at the same time obviously improving my skills at what I do in terms of, understanding like the math behind machine learning and data science and all of that. Um, so yeah, I think that that's probably a good next step. But really, I kind of want to put myself in a position where I can either work on the projects that I want to work on, or if it came to it, and not that I want to leave or anything, but if it came to it, like be able to jump to um, another firm that's ideally more prestigious and more you know, compensates you according to that, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think that's kind of the gist of, how projects are going and things like that, work wise at least. Let's see what else. It's a really nice day out. We had a horrific winter. It was so cold. We got multiple snowstorms of like multiple feet of snow, which is crazy in New York City. But it's like 75 degrees at 79. So I worked from home today, which I don't do very often. I never do in the middle of the week. Uh, but my hot water was out today, so I couldn't shower to go into the office. And my hair is incredibly long right now, so if I don't shower and stuff, it gets like, so I'm gonna get it cut uh, tonight or tomorrow. Um, Speaking of which, I need to do that right after this, make the call because I need to move it to tomorrow. So thank you for reminding me. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna walk to the gym right after this, I think. Go play some basketball. Um, I need to do a push workout too, so we'll get that in. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think that this is good. I've been kind of needing a little bit more of like just a side project to kind of work on. I feel like work has been like that's like all I've been doing lately. And I don't know, I just think it's good to have, things outside of that. And I think kind of building a YouTube channel would be good for that. And, I don't think that not necessarily like building a YouTube channel. Although I would honestly kind of like to optimize these videos at least slightly so that people might actually start watching them. So I think the number one thing for that is probably consistency. I don't know if I mean consistency is number one, and that's where I'm also going to get the most benefit out of it. So I think that's kind of the number one hurdle to solve. But if I can make them more visually appealing and make the audio quality better and the overall content better, I think that that would be good as well. Um, but again, it does kind of need to remain low effort just because of the amount of time that I have with, the time commitment to things that I actually that are my main priority, aka my job. Um, and like, going to the gym and doing, things outside of work and all of that. Like this is something that what I'm trying to say is this is something that I want to do in addition to everything that I'm already doing. And that doesn't mean that I can't prioritize it. It just means I have a finite amount of time, which is, I think makes sense. So we'll see kind of how that goes. But I think that this is a good setup of, just if I have something on my mind and it can be real casual and I like the natural light from the windows and, doing the setup this way. So yeah, we'll see. I guess I don't know. I mean, I don't really want to just ramble. I'm kind of out of things to talk about. So yeah, I think we'll leave it at that.